sure you all have heard this before. If you educate an individual, excuse me, if you educate a boy, you educate an individual. If you educate a girl, you educate a village. This is an African proverb. And in Afghanistan, this is so important because the girls there, if they are educated, they will continue to make sure when they become mothers that they educate their own children. And the important thing about this as well is, I'm sure most of you have read about the madras schools where boys are forced as young boys to go to these schools. They become fundamentalists, they learn to become terrorists, and they, of course, then do nothing but raise all kinds of hell and cause terrible, there's a terrible impact on their lives and the lives of many that they inflict this terrible pain on. And so it's important that as these girls receive an education as mothers, it's traditional that the boys ask their mothers if they can have permission to go to these madras schools. And if a mother is educated, she will, of course, likely tell her children no, her son no, that he couldn't go to a madras school because she is aware of what it is that's being taught there and wouldn't allow it.
I believe, you know, some wonderful, wonderful opportunities to work with a lot of organizations. I, throughout my career, have tried to keep the focus on women, and in that context, look at sustainability, meaning how we can make things keep going after we withdraw external aid. So after working for the UN, the University of Wisconsin, and these international organizations like the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank, I started my own consulting company, and then I decided that there needed to be a nonprofit so that I could do the things that I wasn't doing through the consulting company. And the nonprofit is the Weidemann Foundation. We do work in many countries around the world.
Okay, I should have taken notes, KAZU. For me, if I can make this short, how I got started and why Afghanistan. I was raised in a very violent and abusive situation, and suffered at the hands of a very evil man for many years. And at 32 years old, I took my 3 boys and fled with our car and a suitcase full of clothing. And so I know what it is to suffer, to live in an environment where you feel that you are at war constantly and to not feel cared about. And I never in my wildest dreams ever thought that Afghanistan would be a country that I would be helping, or women and children that I would be helping. But I have always worked in situations where I've been able to donate or contribute or do things, anonymously for women and children in our country. And I am in a very loving and very happy marriage. Currently, we've been married for 12 years now. And a very supportive husband. And I have 3 beautiful sons, and then I have 4 beautiful stepchildren. And when 9/11 happened, I saw what was happening on TV, and I had lived in New York for a few years and visited many years when my mother was there. And I felt very compelled. I don't know what it was, but I felt very compelled at the time. And I didn't realize until I went over there and saw these women and saw the children and the trauma in their faces that I had something that I could give to them, as well as them giving so much more back to me. And I am just driven every year to go back because of the relationships that I have developed with them. They are the most remarkable and resilient individuals. They're so loving and so kind, and there's such a pure innocence about them. That and they give so much more back to me than I could have ever given. My first trip, I really went in there thinking I was going to help them, and I tell you, I gained so much more than what I could have ever given them. And year after year, I find this happens, and the tragic things that happened in my life have healed because of the service that I have given to them. And I really believe that you can make a difference in the lives of others. If you just reach out to one person, and you can heal yourself and your own circumstances by doing that, and not sitting around wallowing in your own, suffering. How others can help, I didn't mention that we do give 100% of every donation. Every single penny to me is sacred, and every bit of what we raise goes to the women and the children and to the particular projects that we support. Right now we are just focused on the House of Flowers Orphanage and Saavedra Karpeles program. Unfortunately, the government-run orphanages are being closed. The girls are being married or being placed into extended family situations. It's a terrible situation. And so we have pulled back from those because we no longer can support them. And so we are now just focused on the House of Flowers, where we have seen over the years, many years, children that are flourishing and are very educated. These children have created their own Seeds of Hope project, where they go in and they find every extra blanket, piece of clothing, toy, funds that they have saved and earned, and they go into the streets and help the people in the refugee camps and the children on the streets during the winter. These are children who are orphans, who have nothing, So they've been doing the Seeds of Hope program for a couple of years now, and we help them in supporting that. But they started this on their own. These are children from the ages of 5 to 15 who live in a developing country who have nothing. So how you can help is become a volunteer, raise awareness, make a donation. We are no longer working with Ambassadors for Children. We parted ways last spring. They did not want to work in Afghanistan any longer, unfortunately. And so we have been working under the umbrella of A Little Help, which is my dear friend Rosemary Stasik's organization. She did pass away in September, unfortunately, but her husband has taken on the work, and he's currently in Kabul, and so we're continuing to work under him until we can find someone else. So, but yeah, that's how you can help.
I would like to add to that. Nicholas Kristof, in his book Half the Sky, mentions that we can all do something. And I think for somebody, you just follow your passion. What excites you? What interests you? What can you afford in terms of time or money or your talents? I think those direct you. But all my life I have felt that I was so totally aligned with what I was doing. And that just gives you the most amazing, amazing feeling. And most recently I read one of Kristof's columns, and he said that the brain is hardwired in the same areas that light up for sexual pleasure and other kinds of pleasure. They also light up when we do good for others. So doing good for others makes us feel so good in the same way that these really other amazing pleasures do. And he goes on to give examples of kids who go to their parents, this one family. And these kids said, why do we live in such a big house when there are these people around the world who have, no house? So that family actually sold their 9,000 square foot house, lived on much less than they were living on at the instigation of those kids. And he tells another story recently about a young woman who just caught fire from some cause and is totally raising money for it and doing it in her hometown. So, number one, it's hardwired in us to do good. It makes us feel good, as you said, as I said. And number two, you don't have to go anywhere to do it, and you can do it right here. Just follow your bliss, as Joseph Campbell says.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. It's good to be here. Thank you, Catherine, KAZU, and thanks to your special guest. And it's really enlightening, wonderful to hear about the work of individuals. We just heard about the work and the passion to do well and to do good in this world. I also was attracted to this organization because of the name of it, the United Nations Association of the United States of America. So I am also a product of a foreign culture, but grown up in this country more than half of my life. And when I look at the UNA-USA, I really see the best of the two worlds being combined. What the United Nations stands for in terms of what is in its charter, and what the United States stands for, what is in its Constitution of the United States. So my passion to be associated with this organization is to bring the best of the two worlds together and do good for the humanity. And many of you are here, I'm sure, because of that reason.